Well, okay, let me show you what I got here today. Actually, it's for your business in New Jersey, and there's a whole bunch of stuff here. I mean, stuff that is aimed at your getting financing and money for your equipment, but also other things, because there's so many other opportunities, I think, for small businesses that are available in these programs that you may not need it right away, but you will soon. And be sure, before you do it, fill out any forms or anything from any of these organizations, even though they may be online, talk to them first, because you don't want to waste time filling stuff out if for some reason they have some little small print that doesn't make sense for you to do it. So it's always best to talk to people ahead of time, and also to find out exactly, what else you may have missed that, you should be applying for instead of that. So that's the important thing of a lot of these organizations. When you talk to somebody, even if you don't get money, or even if they do say yes, you want to ask them where else, because they're in the business of giving money for your kind of situation. So they're most likely to know of other organizations too, because if they've been working there more than a weekend, they're going to run into other organizations that do the same kind of stuff. So they'll know about that. Okay, let's see locally. Now, look at your city. Suppose the city your restaurant's going to be in your city, there's nothing there. It's surprising, because most of the cities I look at, there's always something, but there's nothing. So I know you're not going to move out of New Jersey. The state has a lot of stuff, and the county. So let's go through it. Okay, here's something that actually a grant too. This is one of the few grants for business. I'll show you a lot of other stuff, particularly later on. Pay attention when I get into the crowdfunding, because that's free money. That's even easier than grants, and I'll show you how to use that too. But $1,800 to upgrade the front of your restaurant. Wow! So contact them. This is grant money. So if you have a restaurant, you must have a front on it somewhere. So the money you're paying to improve that or sign or anything like that, maybe you could use this money and then use the money you saved on that for some of the other equipment. So that's the main thing, or the first thing there. That's a county program. Okay, local government assistance on money and financing. This was interesting to me, that you should just contact your county, economic development office. I have the link there, and look at the things that they say that they want to help you with. They talk about this. They call it the facade improvement program, because they're getting federal money for that. That's where that comes. They have economic opportunity mapping. I'm not even sure what the heck that means. Business to business lists. So they have mailing lists, and they have business to consumers. So you have a restaurant, you're looking for consumers. You may want to find out about that. Website optimization. It looks like they give you free website services of some kind to make sure the people finding you that way. Look at all the other stuff. Personalized, customized assistance for the new business owner and the experienced owners who want to grow their business. Can't hurt, man. And it's free, because they went through other people going through the problems you have, and then they would know off the top of their head. Okay, locally too. And, none of this stuff. You could go try the bank. Maybe you tried it or whatever, and it may or may not work. But the loans I'm going to show you are nonprofit organizations or government organizations that are cheaper. They're better. See, the banks, they work for Wall Street. They have to charge as much as they could get, because they feel the responsibility is not to the community but to the investors. So they're trying to squeeze as much out of you as possible, for the investors and not the community. So that's why here these organizations, these banks, and other people I'm going to tell you about for money are not that way. They're interested in a bigger picture of getting you to be successful and grow. So they're not as hard-ass as these people or rates. Now here's rates from 3% to 9% on a business loan. See, this is a nonprofit organization, and that's just one of them. Here's another one. Low interest working capital loans for small business. Another nonprofit. So that's why that's what you need, it sounds like, is a working capital loan. Nonprofit offers small businesses at market and below market rates. See, Where else are you going to get below market weight? Not in the market. It's in this other stuff that is not advertised, and they don't pop up in Google. Or loans and technical assistance for small business and the self-employed. So even if you're a restaurant running out of your kitchen and home, it's money for that. Nonprofit community loan fund to create economic development and jobs. See, that's the whole thing. This is why the government's interested in you expanding and growing and everything, because you're going to create jobs if that happens. And if you create jobs, that means they'll get reelected because people are angry because they don't have a job. So that's why this money is there. 5,000 microloans, for women entrepreneurs. No bank, non-bank low interest loans at $1,500. Well, here's a $1,500 loan. What the heck? It's a non-bank. And see, this is from a nonprofit organization that's all over the world doing this. It's a very interesting concept. You may want to just touch base to see if that's for you now or anything. Because their main office is in New York, and the contact information is there. You send them an email, and they'll hook you up. But it's a very famous, the green model for doing loans. Really started in Africa, not from any kind of Fortune 500 bank or anything giving loans like Citicorp. No, these are people helping each other out. Okay, rebates for energy saving restaurant equipment. That sounded like you, right? So if you could get $500, $1,000 for or some of that equipment you already bought, maybe that's there. Here, $500 to $50,000 small business loans and from nonprofits. That's right. See, this is a nonprofit organization giving money out like that for businesses. So they're not interested in bleeding you dry like a lot of other people are. Okay, train yourself and employees for free. Training money. You have restaurant employees, you want to train them. You want to learn a new skill in your business. There's training. It usually is like $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 per employee that you could use. And this is how to find out about that. And I have videos there too of people who hand out this money. So you could see that this is real stuff. Free money to live on while you start your own business. That's right. Now, if you're out of work, actually, this is how to use your unemployment money to start a business. You don't have to look for a job. And that's why it's all set up for entrepreneurs and self-employed now. And that's the office locally to do that. Here's a video, actually, of a young man in New Jersey who's doing that. A veteran. If you're a veteran, know any veteran, these offices, the county veterans offices, are incredible. I mean, you look at the video in that listing here that I have, and you'll see that they get twice as much money for vets for anything, whether it's business, housing, school, all that, than anybody else. They just learn the system, and they use it for vet, and it's free. See, these consultants, what's neat about the government, they're free, and they may not be spend a lot of money to find you, but they don't spend any money to find you. That's why you have to find them. Okay, Starbucks. How do you get a small business loan at Starbucks? That's what they put a big chunk of money in. And actually, it's run through community banks. There's a link here. Find your local community bank. And if you're looking for the equipment money and stuff like that, because that's what Starbucks is giving. They gave them a whole bunch of money, to give it out. And these community banks, again, non-Wall Street kind of stuff, so they have different motives in mind. I mean, sure, we have to be economically responsible and everything, but the ultimate of capitalism is just greed, and forget about everybody else. It's dog eat dog, and it doesn't have to be that way. So that's why there's other organizations now, that are still providing the services, but are not as greedy, I guess the word is. I don't know. Maybe there's other words for all this stuff. But they don't pop up in Google because the greedy guys know how to get on the first page of Google, and these people don't because they don't have money to do that. So you have to find them. Okay, the single best no-cost one-on-one counseling. Man, if you don't know the Business Development Center, you should, because they have all kinds of information. There's a video there how I've interviewed a bunch of these people, who run these places, and they're just terrific. They'll do everything. Any kind of management problem, financial problem, tax problem, technology problem. Man, they're there for free to help you. Right? It's phenomenal to me. I mean, when I used to do this years and years ago for Fortune 500 companies, I'd go to these people and get the information Then I'd sell it to my Fortune 500 clients for tens of thousands of dollars. And I was getting it free. Also, I thought this may be interesting. You should be aware of your county cooperative extension service, because you're in the food business, right? You're selling food or something, and now with the local, farming and local food to table and farming to table or all this stuff. I mean, I go to every restaurant and they all tell me the food comes from their backyard or something like that. So, I mean, you want to get into that or whatever it is. Your county cooperative extension service knows where all these people are, knows all the farmers, knows who's producing what and what's good and bad and everything. So instead of hiring some service to help you, find these outlets, that's what they do. And they're free. That's what's neat about it. And they've been doing this for like 50 years. That's what's neat about the government. You find these people in the government who's been studying this stuff for like 30 years. Nobody knows about them. And when you find them, the problem isn't getting, the information problem, getting out of their office. Wow. Okay, library. That's another thing people forget. Boy, I go to a lot of them now recently. You have to remember, when you search something in Google, you're not going to find, you're going to get millions of websites and who knows what, you don't know what. Now, research librarians are there to help you. Now it's online. You can go to their website. They have Ask a Librarian online, text, email, all this kind of stuff. You don't have to march down the library at all, to do this, or on the phone, and they'll do research for you. Man, it's, I don't know what you have this. It's the government can't be right. No, they've answered that question for other people. That's what you want to do. And I mean, I've been a researcher doing this for 40 years or more. And that's the key to everything. You want to know who somebody, you want to find somebody who already asked that question, somebody who already did the research, because they're going to save you a ton of time. And that's what it is. So librarian researchers, they've answered. Customers come in and they don't want money for their business. They want anything. So they've done the research and found something, and then they could, off the top of their head, tell you, because they've already found it. Now, other thing, there's 2 great books they have, and it's all about grants. And one is 10,000 private grants for individual needs. And see, these books are from the Foundation Center. See, what I specialize in is mostly government, nonprofits, and internet opportunities. These are foundations. These are foundations that give out grants, and they have the best website. So they have a separate database for individuals, and that database is like, if you buy it, from the Foundation Center, it's $100. Down to the other one for organizations, it's $140,000. And these are mostly geared if you're a nonprofit organization. You as a business and a restaurant, maybe not, but I put this on the side for now. But to know it's there, that's the other thing. Knowing where things are. And someday later, you'll pull that, your church needs something or whatever, nonprofit. That's where you want to go. You can access this in, because the 140,000 people who give out grants for nonprofits and things like that, 90% of them don't even have a website. Isn't that amazing? They don't have websites. There it is. There's the 90% of the grant makers don't even have a website. Okay, here. Now, another thing you probably don't know about, because I find it surprising, a lot of people don't know, is the 211. This is a website and a phone call. You can call 211 right now and say, I need help for my business. And they'll find a nonprofit organization for you, or a government office, or whatever. They'll probably, what they'll do is show you the business development center that I just talked about a little while ago. And that's what they'll show you. And they have a database of only the free stuff. See, when you go on Google, the free stuff will be in there, but it'll be on page 79, of your 20 million website printout that you get. Here they have a database only free stuff. Like here, I'll show you an example here. If you go to Google now and put in debt problems, 140 million websites. So if you have a debt problem, 140 million websites. Wow. Okay. Now, if you go to the 211 number that I just talked to you about, 90 sources. That's how many. So from 140 million down to 90. Now the difference between the 140 million down to 90 are just the people in your area. And look, they have them grouped by individuals. So maybe even like your employees, are debt problems. Tell them to go 211, man. This is it. And put in debt problems. And you'll see, okay, there's 24 people who have personal financial counseling. That's right. These are nonprofit organizations. They get money to help you with your debt problems, one-on-one counseling. You go on Google and you're going to get somebody's going to sell you something one way or another. Mortgage delinquency. Okay, there's 16 programs there, debt consolidation for all nonprofits, right? Bankruptcy assistant, 7 free. You think, well, I know a bankruptcy lawyer, Oh, he's going to put it on the clock as soon as you walk in the door, You don't need that when you're in debt. So that's what's so neat about this thing. Childcare, okay, so you have employees that, everybody's got childcare problems. Look at 150 sources in childcare, That's still not, like 140 million that you'll get in Google. That's what's so great about this. And the greatest thing about them is that they're free, and everything is free that you're going to get in that thing. Okay, New Jersey state programs, $500 to $8,000 tax credit for each new job. They used to have payments, but I think that, granted, they got rid of that. So this is a tax credit. So if you're not paying any taxes, any income, you don't have taxes, so you may not be able to get the credit. But that's there. New low-cost business loans, up to $1.5 million, and they have this in the small business stuff. So you may only need 10, but see what you get. Direct business loans from the state of New Jersey when banks won't lend you. See, that's what the government is for. And when the banks say no, they got the dough. Well, maybe I'll use that in an ad somewhere. But it's true. That's why the government is there. I mean, it's to help people, to help our economy or our society or whatever when it's not being done commercially. And that's what small business funding for women, minorities, and nonprofits. Okay, that's special money for that. Okay, up to $5 million for creditworthy businesses. So you need big money and you're creditworthy, you get a better deal here at the government. Okay, state financial incentives for large and manufacturing. They have so many programs, state of New Jersey, but they're for bigger kind of companies. So here's a list. You want to get deeper in the weeds of everything that they have. I got it right there for you. Okay, and you go. Okay, now here, you probably don't need this, but maybe you will someday when you start selling your pizza or whatever it is overseas, because they have programs now that's at your state government there that will give you $5,000 to overseas to look for customers. That's what it is, And they have, so anything you want to do overseas, remember your state capital here is better than any consultant because they work through the embassies and all that kind of stuff. They're incredible programs people don't know about. So make sure you know the video that explains. I interviewed one of the state representatives that run this program. And there's another program here that finds representatives for you in any country in the world to represent you. So that's it. You're eligible for free experts to show. Oh yeah, these are experts come into your business and they spend a half a day and do a management consulting report. It's like a $5,000 analysis. And they're paid for the government. You won't find them in Google. You're going to find Booz Allen or one of these expensive consultant people, and it's amazing. And they say they do any kind of business. They're listed under manufacturing, but I've had an interview. You could see the interview with the person I have here, and they do anybody. That's what the tax credit for angel investors. Now this is interesting. I think I misspelled angel there. This is interesting because what angel, that's important because see, if angel isn't going to invest in your money, invest in your business, they get a tax credit. So that's interesting because that's an incentive. You want to know people getting that. Here's 9 venture capital firms with money from New Jersey to invest in businesses like yours. So what New Jersey does is give money to these venture capitalists because they say, we don't know anything about giving money to new ventures. So there are 9 businesses in that link there that give out money to new businesses. Okay, $5,000 to $750,000 grant for construction expenses that involve historical property. Now, you may not have an historical property, a pizza place yet, or restaurant, whatever your restaurant is. I'm sorry, I don't know. But you may someday. And that's why you realize, there's always, it's not the obvious places that get him. So maybe that building that your restaurant is in is 50 years old or something that it's declared historic, well, there's separate money to fix up that place. So you keep the historic value, and have your restaurant. Okay, now here's something, I don't think it's for you, but you should have it, I think, just in case you're setting up franchises around or other restaurants. Money that's a help for businesses in small towns, because there's a lot of money, a lot of help if you want to start a business in a small town. Here I have a video and an explanation. If you want to get an SBA loan, how to do it. You don't need hire an accountant or lawyer or any of those kinds of things. There's no magic to this. It's finding a business, a bank that who's familiar with your kind of business. And there's an office there that will help you locate those banks. It's all in the database and you have access to it. Watch that video there on that. Okay, government contracts. Now you think you have to be a defense contractor or something like that. No, I mean, if your restaurant does catering, the government buys more catering than anybody else in the world. The government buys more of anything than anybody else in the world. Maybe you got a barbecue place and you're selling your barbecue sauce or something in bottles. Man, well, they buy more of that than anybody else because they got a big chain of department stores all over the world, those PXs, and that's what people don't realize. Every big company is selling to the government because it's like going elephant hunting. When you bag one of those, you got meat for a long time. So and what's neat about it is there's government offices, actually they're private offices, consultants who get grants to help you get those contracts. So they're getting a grant to be your marketing department and figure out. And I got interviews of these people, how they do it. You don't need a consultant. You don't need an expert, all this stuff. They tell you there's even grant money to give you a grant to figure out how to get a contract. Man, like my sister does, framing frames for pictures in government offices, man, out of her garage down in Virginia somewhere. She does like $1 million, just in that. I mean, it's terrific for any size business. You could be a freelancer and do this too. Incubators, accelerators, and meetups. Now, these are important things. I think now in the new economy that's happening, there's a lot of this going on. These are private, public, nonprofit organizations where they're looking for people with new ideas, and these new ideas, and then they because they want these to grow, so they give you even seed money a lot of times, free kind of financial help. Maybe you get like $25,000 because they think your idea has potential, and they give you an office space and financial help and everything to grow your idea. So here are the major ones in New Jersey for that. And I have a bunch of videos of people who use this or a incubator, accelerator kinds of things. Like the first one here is one in France. Now you're in the food business. This guy's looking for people to give $100,000 if you have a food-related idea. Maybe, I don't know, you have a new idea for, New Jersey hot dogs or something like that. A new diet. Well, they give you $100,000 and 3 months in Paris to think through your idea, develop the idea, and all this kind of stuff. As long as it's food-related, because he thinks France should be the world's leader in food. Actually, he was going around the country looking for people with ideas like that, food related. There's other people who've used it. A guy up here locally who had a full-time job but still got $25,000 from a local accelerate program from the state, and he kept his day job, to grow that business. Okay, meetups are another neat thing, I think, to get experience, to get ideas and tricks and learn about sources that aren't known to people. And I gave you a list here of how to find them within 25 miles of where you live. There's 100, of entrepreneurs starting all kind of businesses that meet for free and everything. Why go on and spend all that money for consulting when you can find out about stuff that somebody already did it and do it? I've spoken a lot of these groups. They're terrific. Here now, I don't know if people realize this, but there's a lot of banks now that give what they call individual development accounts. Now, these are income dependent, so depending on how, you can't make a whole lot of income to, but what the government does is put money into your savings account. Like they give you a grant in your savings account, but it's a portion of what you put in. So if you put in $1, they may put in $2, $3, $4, $5, whatever the matching is. And there's a whole bunch in New Jersey. You can call each one of those. There's 10 of them, and see what the program is, because you could use it for business, housing, education, all kind of stuff. Okay, and there's two other things here about artists. I don't know, maybe I'm a sucker for artists, but to know that there's government programs for artists, grants, and also there's something called Patreon now, where the government, Patreon gives $1 million every month to artists to live on. And this is a website, a crowdfunding website where you put your idea. See, websites like this require no money. You just put your idea on. People like, yeah, I'll keep you alive as an artist, a benefactor kind of thing. I like your art. Private grants, I got a dozen or so there. Most private grants are annual. They're usually shams for big corporations to pretend they're doing good for the community, and like, they'll give out $10,000, $5,000 grants, and they'll get $1 million of publicity doing it. So be careful of those. But I got some there. I mean, they're real. People get the money and everything. Angel investors is a big thing. And now, but see, the thing about angel investors, man, they're all in a barrel. So these are angel investor people at you as new business looking for help for you business, looking for these fat cats. Before my generation, you had to belong to the country club to find these people, But now they're online. Here in New Jersey, there's 4,770 angel investors want to invest in small businesses in New Jersey. And a lot of it's high tech they're looking for, but man, restaurants are still, it's like a movie, oh, I own a restaurant, or I own part of it, or I'm investing in this, or whatever, and that hits heartstrings. But now you can find them, and the contact information and everything. Then I got a bunch of other websites that do the same thing. And that's why the internet has made everything so, gosh, I mean, at least finding people is if you know what to ask for, it's there. If you don't know exactly what to say, you never find it. And there's also accredited investors. These are crowdfunding sites with accredited. These are fat cats, who want to invest in something. And you could put your restaurant on there and look for those fat cat investors on all of these that I have here too. Non-traditional business loans. This is more interesting, I think. Like Kiva, that's a 0% interest. This is a nonprofit organization that gives small businesses like you business loans, but zero. Grameen Bank, we talked about that earlier. ASEAN, that's another one, very low income. All these community source, these are platforms. A lot of these are platforms because now I think the banks are being, that's old school stuff. They're not going away overnight, but this new stuff is taking over because it's cutting out the waste in Wall Street and banking and financial services. I mean, the people make all the money in financial services, the people running the financial services. The rest of us are getting screwed, I feel. So there's new ways of doing things. Because if you have, now these platforms, that lend out money, it's people on the internet who lend you the money. And so if you need $5,000, then people, I'll give them 200 or something like that. And everybody, and the website keeps care of everything. And see, if you went to a bank and put your money in the bank as a depositor, they'd pay you maybe 1%, and then they lend it out for 12%, right? Well, here what they do is lend it out for maybe 7%, and the investor makes 3 or 4%, because the platform needs very little. They don't have all this overhead because it's all done online. It's sort of like Airbnb. I mean, they have 1 million people making money off of that thing, and they only have 3,000 employees. And the value of Airbnb is bigger than like 3 Hyatt hotels. Not hotels, but the company that's been around. They're worth like $50 billion or something like that now. And Hyatt Hotel is only worth about $15 billion, just a fraction of what they are. And they have 130,000 employees, but Airbnb has only like 2,000 or 3,000. But 1 million people making money on it. See, that's what it is. So it's a whole new way of doing business. for there. And there's one in here. Look at Zip Cap, because that's interesting. That's for restaurants. A lot of restaurants use this because as long as you have customers, you have a loan. You don't care what your background is, care what your credit check is or whatever. So that's a cool idea there. And that's what these online things are realizing. The traditional ways of giving money, really aren't honest. They don't really work. Crowdfunding, got to know about that. I'm going to show you in a minute about just crowdfunding for restaurants. But this is the biggest thing, I think, for money. You can forget banks, you can forget grants, you can forget all this stuff, because this is where money's going directly from people to you. So to go to grants, to go to banks or everything, that's people going to a middle person, and they take all the overhead, and then a fraction goes to you. It's cut out the middleman, and also see that it cuts out the fat cat, the gatekeepers, because the people decide. Not some fat cat with a cigar deciding. See, and what's neat about it, it's free. You try it for free. There's no income requirements. There's no credit checks. You keep the money forever. There's no complicated business plans. It's fast. 30, 60 days you get the money. No, I say gatekeepers. And it's a better guarantee of success. If you have a new idea for a restaurant or even an old idea, if you can't get the community to think about it, you don't have to convince some fat cat and probably never come to your restaurant anyway. You go out to the community of people who may be coming to the restaurant. Yeah, I want that. And then people give you money. They don't care if the restaurant doesn't open until next year. They do it. I don't know why. You don't go into Macy's and buy something and say, I'll come back next year and get it. But here they do. So it's a way to guarantee success and everything. I go, samples of people do this, and food related, non-food related, but also I have other ways of doing it. But crowdfunding for restaurants, this is interesting because this is popping up a lot. I think if you don't know about it, you should. Here, this lady raised $20,000 to have a food truck. Just as online, money all comes in the bank, and it's amazing. Or here's a guy who runs a seminar on how to finance a food truck. Okay, Equity Eats. I have an interview with this guy who runs this crowdfunding platform, and what they do, they look for investors for you. So everything from $100 to to $1 million. Restaurants, and what they have, an incubator kind of plane. They have a like a warehouse where all these restaurants are practicing, because they want to be in business, and they look for fat cat investors to do it. And they also have a crowdfunding fight that looks for off the street investors. They have a way. So like you want to be involved in this new restaurant or whatever, and you get like credits to buy, to get free meals there or something like that. Plus you get an extra 20% for the rest of your life, because it's almost like an investment. It's not. So they get around the rules of being, having to register on Wall Street and all that kind of stuff. Man, it's neat. And it's happening because of Wall Street. So it's an alternative. This is the kind of stuff that's growing. There's their website, Equity Eats. Well, here's a website just for restaurants. Food Start. Look at that. How people are raising money. $20,000, $5,000 or whatever. And see what's interesting, particularly for you. You know your market where it is. Okay. Now just think. Okay, let's say you needed $5,000 for your restaurant for some equipment or whatever you do it. And if you're going out to get it from local people and giving them, I don't know, you could give them all kind of trinkets or T-shirts with a restaurant logo on or whatever, or discounts on a meal, or throw a party for everybody. I mean, all kinds of things. When you see their websites, how they do this, that people just want to be involved. And see what happens is this becomes marketing, and it's a free way for you to market for customers. Not only get money, but market for customers. Wow. And that's what's neat. It's a twofer. Then if you have your customers giving you money, also chipping in for the money you need for equipment or whatever it is, Man, I mean, I think that's a no-brainer because you have nothing to lose. Instead of going to the bank, they're never going to come to your restaurant anyway. And that's what's so neat about crowdfunding. You get the people most interested, and then they become part of your community. What the heck? Now here's somebody else. Two young women who got $50,000 for their restaurant. Indiegogo, which is a big website. They have just a food category, on their article. Here, I put some articles about crowdfunding. So if you want to get a little more, this guy is interesting. He went on crowdfunding, got $50,000 to open up a restaurant with no walls, and it became one of the top 5-10 restaurants in Houston. There's no wall. It's a cart. He does crepes, but he got $50,000 crowdfunding to do that. Okay, now here's an interesting thing. This is one of the coolest ideas I think I've ever seen about restaurants. Is these two kids always wanted a restaurant. I don't know, they're making some kind of Hawaiian food, or I don't even know what it was. But they had a great idea. Watch that video. What they did is they took, they couldn't afford a restaurant or open. They had no money, and everything. So they found a bar that doesn't do much lunch, So they said, let us use your kitchen. We'll give you all the drink money, and we're going to do a crowdfunding campaign, through your bar. So they went and raised, and so they were serving lunch at the bar, on these few days or whatever, and using it as a crowdfunding to get money for the real restaurant. So people could taste the food, see what it is, and then even contribute to their crowdfunding campaign and all this. Man, it's just genius, They could, that's a business, going to somebody's restaurant, somebody's bar that doesn't do lunch business or whatever, every day. Do lunch, and you don't have any overhead to worry about, and they take care of the wine and beer. Okay. Also, selling on the internet. That to me, I think is, look at Walmart's almost, is shrinking. They're talking about, they got to grow the internet. Walmart's are closing stores. Retail shopping is going down. So that's why, how do you, even as a restaurant, restaurants never going away, but there's a piece maybe, and websites and things like that. Now, this section shows you is a little bit more about how to start business on the website. Anyway, now here, the first one here is how to get in the t-shirt business for your restaurant with zero money. So you can go to them, have somebody design a t-shirt for you, and you don't have to do anything after that. And then you'll have a website that sells t-shirts of your restaurant. So people want to buy. You want to put on other stuff, then you have another business that you could be earning income somehow when you're not even open the doors, because of the restaurant. People like your restaurant or whatever it is. And I go through a whole bunch of stuff on how to do this on the internet. And then I show you 28 people who've done this. They quit their jobs after 6 months because they learned to sell on the internet. It costs nothing to start. See, the restaurant, your kind of business, you need equipment, you need retail, you need all this kind of stuff. And even normal stores, you need to go to the mall and all this kind of stuff. That's over. That doesn't happen anymore. You don't need that. You need 20 cents and you have a store. So that's why you need 20 cents and you could be selling food online or whatever it is, or some food related. You could sell your recipes, whatever. You could have little videos of how I make this spaghetti, or whatever. So you have income that's not related to those doors having to be open. Small business philosophy, that's some info on me. About my philosophy about kind of business ideas you may have missed. Other internet, just look for those things. There are other things to do. And here, how to get justice. That's another thing I think in our country, people don't realize, we live in the biggest democracy in the world, and everybody thinks we have to hire an attorney to get justice. No, there's some regulatory agency that regulates you. You know that. You're a retail business, right? So if I went to the licensing place and complained, you'd probably hear about it, or whoever inspects and things like that. Everybody's like, your bank's the same way. Your insurance company, the lawyers, the accountants, everybody's that. So you can complain. And they have to investigate even if you're wrong. So that's why you have power in the system. By using these regulatory people that have power over all this stuff. And even your bill collectors collecting money from you, you can get $10,000 from them because they don't follow the rules when they collect because they have to scare you too much to do. And then I show you 3 places to get free research too. I mean, the library we talked about. The other one is the 211, and also your elected official. Remember, you're a community contributor. I show you how to use your elected official. They have people on their staff that will do research for you to get money, help, and anything you need in your, for your success or whatever. So you might as well use them. Watch that video there, and you'll learn more about it. Wow, I babbled on a lot, didn't I? Okay, well, good luck to you, and thanks again for trying this.